Hey everyone, welcome to Zealots. I'm Forrest,
Vengeance.
And I'm Robbie.
and the wait's finally over. The new Batman movie's out, and we've all seen
Is
it.
it? Is it new? We'll talk about it, I
It's
guess. But
well,
I felt like I might have been watching Batman Begins, diluted.
The Matt Reeves directed, Robert Pattinson starring Batman movie is out.
Yes, the Batman. The definitive Batman, right? We had Suicide Squad, we had Justice League, then we got the Suicide Squad, and now we're getting the Justice League or the Batman.
So when they reboot when they reboot the Flash, it'll be the Flash.
The Flash.
Yeah,
the Flashpoint.
The Justice League.
The Justice League. Yeah, what are we gonna do when we reboot this? The Batman.
The Zealots, yeah. We get kicked off Anchor.
So I mean, like, let's go over. Let's do broad swiping generalizations about the movie, and then let's get more finite and really dive into the minutia as we get into the details of it all. What do you guys think overall?
I liked it a lot. I think I definitely enjoyed it more than Dark Knight Rises. And maybe Tim Burton's first Batman movie. But I think that I enjoyed... I mean, Dark Knight is still the best Batman movie.
By far.
None. And I think I like Batman Begins better, just because I think the stories in each of those movies were more satisfactory, especially the endings in each of them. And I was not too crazy about the ending in this one. But I'd say first two acts I really liked. Third act had some issues with.
First two acts are so good. What about you, Robbie? What did you think about this Batman movie?
Yeah, I'd have to agree that I enjoyed it. I liked how they focus more about him being, because Batman's supposed to be the world's greatest detective, and he uses
we finally get some detective skills going on, right?
All his money and gear, he shows off. Oh man, those contacts that he had.
Those contacts are cool.
Those spy contacts that he had going on.
He's such a loner. Cool. Those are the only contacts he has in the entire movie.
Used on more than one occasion through the movie.
I really enjoyed it. No, you're right. Like, that was a really cool dynamic and aspect. I have very nuanced feelings about this movie. I go from love and hate like very quickly back and forth just based on the mood and how I'm feeling at the moment. Like, I thought I liked this better than Batman Begins, but then I rewatched Batman Begins to get a feel for the first Batman movie in a trilogy. And I gotta say, I think Batman Begins maybe did a lot better of a job. And I didn't realize how much the Batman, this Matt Reeves movie, just basically stole from Batman Begins. From its, it's going after Gotham, right? Water is the downfall of the city. There's like 1,000 parallels that like just. I think Forrest. I think you said this off air. I think you said it best. It wasn't new. This wasn't anything new we've seen before.
It was very much a spiritual successor to the Nolan films.
Right? Like, what is happening here? Like, is this dark and grimy and real? Is this a realistic Batman? Because good fucking luck trying to do this better than Nolan, because you're not going to do better than Nolan, right? Like, Heath Ledger cemented that. Like, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
I think, what can you do? Can you do more camp? Like, there's different ways to do Batman. You can do a serious Batman and it'd be a good movie. You can do a camp Batman and it'd be a good movie, right? Whether it's 1996 Batman or Schumacher's Batman, if you're living in the moment, right? Rewatching that, it's hard to watch through. And at the moment, when he pulls out that Bat card, you were hyped.
Well, I know I mentioned that this was a spiritual successor to Nolan, but also very much a love letter to David Fincher. This movie was heavily, the plot was heavily inspired by Seven.
Someone asked me, a good friend of mine asked me, he was like, hey, you saw the Batman movie. Describe the Batman movie in 5 words or less. And I said, the Joker and hockey pads.
I would probably say Seven meets Zodiac, tries to be the Dark Knight.
Run on words of this last two.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, Batman had a very Taxi-esque like ledger journal, right? Where like every night he would write down like his crimes. Like tonight I beat a guy up in the face and I arrested him.
That really reminded me of Punisher War Journal.
What did you guys think? There's so many things we had to go into so much, right? I want to touch on because Batman's not a movie. Batman is a pop culture event. It's an icon. It's a phenomenon, right? Like all the other Batmans in general, right, are quotable, right? They are phenomenons that happen in the American life that create like highlights in a reel of life, right? Like what is quotable from this movie, right? Like, I mean, we've been best friends for over 20 years almost. So like we quoted every Batman movie, every quotable line from every Batman movie. We quoted to each other, right? Like I remember times where Robbie and I have been like at the movie theater and like texting Forrest, like, where are you? And then you just pop up behind us and you're like, here, right? Like there's no quotability. Like what quotable lines are in this movie?
You got a lot of cats.
You got a lot of cats. Yeah, I like pussy. Like there's nothing quotable in this. I like strays. There's nothing quotable in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
What is iconic about this movie? Like, no,
it did have a very emo feel.
God,
emo
there were
Bruce
such
Wayne.
good scenes. Like if you look at Solo, the Star Wars movie, trash. But you see the Darth Vader scene at the end in the hallway, and it's a masterpiece.
That's Rogue One, actually. But
is that Rogue One? See, that's exactly how much I care about that movie.
There's a
right?
difference between Solo and Rogue One.
Is there? I had no idea. No. Characters that don't fucking matter. So like, there were such good hallway scenes in this fucking movie. Like there were such good scenes. But how do I describe that? Oh, Robert Pattinson's walking down this tunnel and he's beating the shit out of guys where machine gun fire is flying everywhere. No, I can't describe that to you and make you enjoy it, right? But what if I'm like talking about some cargo scene on Gotham Darks, right? And Batman's grabbing people left and right, and then they're shooting crazy. And he's like, "Where are you?" And he just pops up behind him. He's like, "Here." It's so iconic, right? Even the Rachel, like, let me hear your best Rachels. Does anyone have a best Rachel? Let me hear your best Rachel first.
Rachel.
All right, Robbie. Let me hear your best Rachel.
Rachel.
All right,
that's better.
Rachel.
So
he's got to like
iconic, right? Like
he's getting his face all messed up, so he's all like,
I could scream Rachel like in a crowded, like in a mall. And everyone everywhere would get the fucking reference. They like the cool people would be like Batman, right? And the uncool people would be like, that girl Rachel is probably cheating on him.
Yeah,
but like, there's nothing iconic about this movie.
I would say, like, you're mentioning the Rachel scene. Like, I thought the people are really praising the car chase scene in this movie, which I liked a lot. It was very like surreal and real. It's mainly like from the
showing
point
off
of
the
view.
Batmobile.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it was as inventive as the one in Dark Knight or Batman Begins.
Inventive. It was less inventive than the Tumbler, which is by far the worst Batmobile of all time. Like, look, here's my thing. Matt Reeves, I don't know who the fuck you think you are after Cloverfield and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
It was good though.
I mean, it was all right. It was.
Oh, you didn't like? I didn't like War as much as Dawn, and I didn't think he stuck the landing.
Yeah, no.
Very
War
well.
of the Planet of the Apes was not nearly as good as Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
No.
Right? But like Clover, how are you going to give the director of Cloverfield a whole Batman trilogy?
I think the Planet of the Apes movies were just like really successful, and I think he just like he was on the radar for a while because
I guess. Dawn, and like probably. You know, I thought Matt Reeves was a good director.
And you got to remember that Ben Affleck was going to direct the Batman movie
originally. Yes,
like up to like 2017.
Yeah,
like he was still on board, right. So he was like Matt Reeves was like sort of brought in late.
And like let me tell you, like, well, I know, well, he might have been brought in late, but this wasn't the original Batman project. Like Ben Affleck wasn't. Trying to write a year 2 Batman movie.
Yeah. Well, when Affleck stepped down, that's when Warner Brothers started looking for other prospects, and they like Matt Reeves was on the radar because of the last Planet of the Apes.
Up so much. I don't know what they need to do to keep Ben Affleck on board, but that was their Batman. Now I'm saying this. I liked Robert Pattinson, but it's almost like a trope now. Like between George Clooney, Val Kilmer, Robert Pattinson, Ben Affleck, like there's never been a Batman that the community has liked, and yet after the movie comes out, every community loves the Batman.
The previous one, except George Clooney.
Except George Clooney, and even which I think George Clooney was a good Batman. Right? Like Joel Schumacher, that was a camp movie, right? Like people make fun of the Bat credit card, but there was Bat shark repellent 40 years earlier.
And the Bat cuffs.
Right? Like this was just a campy movie
everything.
For the 20th century or the 21st century. Like as much ridicule as it gets, right? It was an ice movie. That's right. There's a pun. I threw it in there. And I don't apologize for it.
Well, Schumacher,
what makes a good movie? Is a good movie, or is a good movie entertaining? Because I would say this was maybe the least entertaining Batman movie I've seen.
Okay,
but maybe one of the best storylines I've seen.
I thought you were like going on a tangent where you're going to like defend the Batman and Robin is a good movie. I was like, okay, that's
it was a good movie in the fact that it was entertaining. Did it make sense?
What I was saying.
No,
yeah, that's what
you've
I was
got Poison Ivy who wants to turn the world green, pairing up with Dr. Freeze who wants to turn the world into ice. Those are literally the two opposite fucking ideologies like in play here. Like that was terrible, and yet it was still more entertaining than
Mr. Freeze would win in the end of that.
Yeah,
freeze all the plants.
I don't know. I think you might be alone on that one. I mean, I think some people have said, like, I think there was some guy on YouTube who said he liked Batman and Robin more than The Dark Knight, just because.
Oh no!
Batman and Robin felt more like a comic book.
We're talking about entertainment value, and I will state for the record, I won't watch that movie because I know it's bad. However, I have fond memories of that as a child.
Rip Tracks makes fun of it, though.
I want to keep those, so I'm not rewatching that movie. I probably never will rewatch that movie.
I think I've rewatched with Rip Tracks, and that's the only reason you should watch it.
I'll tell you, I watched 20 minutes of it, and I was like, this is terrible. I don't want to ruin the rest of my childhood memories, so I turned it off.
I mean, when it first came out, and I was like 5 or 6, I was
like, God, are you kidding me? Yes. Like,
losing my shit.
Yeah. You're much more easily impressed.
Why is Dr. Freeze a bodybuilder? Why is he the size
why not?
I mean, good question. Why not? I don't know. Maybe because you can only work out in a cold environment.
Maybe they wanted to have Batman have a physical antagonist.
Lift lots of ice.
All right, fine. All right. I just want to point out for the record that Forrest has become a defender of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Dr. Freeze and Batman and Robin.
Well, I've been rewatching. Well, first of all, let me just say. I've been rewatching the Batman 66 series, and Mr. Freeze in that was also German or Austrian or whatever, so have you. So they wanted to be consistent.
Yeah. So, Batman 1966, Adam West is an OG legend, the original goat of goats.
And I was like rewatching on YouTube, like Burt Ward's doing some interviews, and like he wrote like a tell-all book, like just about like how much sex they all had just from groupies because of that show.
Now that's a book I would read.
Yeah, it's like the cover is like his a close up on his Robin shorts and like a woman unzipping them.
What?
Yeah,
not heard this at all.
So it's called like it's called The Boy Wonder: My Life in Tights. So apparently Adam West was
amazing.
Adam West was not happy with the book because it basically portrayed him as a sexual predator. Or not a sexual, but just a womanizer.
Yeah, a sexual deviant.
I think Burt Ward said, like, they weren't chasing women; women were chasing them.
Oh, I mean, I would chase Adam West, even if he was the mayor of Quahog.
Yeah, people just, I think, like to crap on that show, but they really don't underestimate like how popular it was.
They don't understand like the syndication and like the value of like Batman 66.
Well, just at the time it came out, it was just like all over the world. There was like overnight. It was like an overnight success. But I like to think without that successful TV show, we wouldn't have gotten the Burton films, which means
you're 100% correct.
We wouldn't have gotten the animated series, which was based partially off the Burton films. We wouldn't
the animated series. Dun 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 dun.
So basically, everything.
So let's talk about the theme songs. What do you guys think about this? Because Batman, like I said at the very beginning, Batman isn't a fucking movie. It is a pop culture event, right? A Batman movie coming out should be as life-changing as any other major event in a prepubescent's life, right? From Danny Elfman's classic theme song, dun 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 dun, 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 right, to Heath Ledger's iconic "Do you want to see a magic trick?" Like, these are things that have people talking at water coolers. What is there to talk about at the water cooler with Robert Pattinson's Batman? Robert Pattinson's great. I should say Matt Reeves' Batman, because Robert Pattinson was fantastic in this movie. And I still like the movie, but like, breaking down theme song, the theme song had 4 notes to it, right? Like 4 main notes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like the score a lot. I mean, like you said, it is simplistic, but it got the job done.
Can you repeat the score to me? What were those 4 notes?
I think I like it more than Hans Zimmer's.
Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe not his Batman Begins score.
Dun, 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 dun.
What's Hans Zimmer's like? Dun, 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 dun. Like, you know, that Hans Zimmer's isn't much better. I mean, but it suits the movie.
Hans Zimmer for what? Is that Batman Begins?
That's like Dark Knight, I think. Like dun, dun, and there's like orchestra in the back, like dun. Dun,
I'll tell you this. I paid specific attention to the soundtrack to Batman Begins because I just watched it to compare beginning Batman movies. And although I would say it's not as impressive as the Batman, Matt Reeves' The Batman, I would say it's more impactful, if that makes any sense. Like the theme.
It's been so long since I watched it.
The soundtrack to Batman Begins played an integral role and part of the cinematography, right? The experience, the scene, the shot. Whereas in Batman, there was never a part of the soundtrack that made me go, "Oh my god, this is legendary!" Right? Like, you hear Star Trek, you hear the Batman the Animated Series opening theme, right? You hear parts of Superman soundtrack, right? And you're like, "This is iconic. This will stay with me forever." And you know what you get from Batman? The Batman?
Yeah.
You get the dum 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 dum.
How about their choice of
you know what
was it, Nirvana?
Nirvana, yes. So like,
how about that music choice?
That was good, but you know, James Gunn does it better. James Gunn picks better pop music out. So like, I don't know, he's kind of got like the niche. He's kind of like got the corner on that marketplace. But the lyrics, I don't think, like, after I looked at the lyrics for that song, based on a breakdown, I can't remember if it was heavy spoilers or Screen Rant. One of them highlighted like the Nirvana song. So I went back and like looked at like the lyrics, and the lyrics were like, it was like the perfect song for like the intro to that movie. But because it was a Nirvana song I briefly knew in the 90s, I never really paid attention to it. If that makes sense.
I had never heard it until the trailer came out, but you know, let's do it before. But I don't know. I can't really remember when it was used in the movie. It was like during the funeral scene. I know they used it at some point, but
yeah, I mean, they had a couple. I think they had 2 or 3 Nirvana songs. They had one in the beginning, like the beginning of the movie, which might have been the funeral scene. What do you guys think about not seeing the Waynes die for the first time ever?
That was nice.
Like,
I enjoyed
we
that.
get it. We know his parents died.
Yeah,
hey,
they died. It's not a big deal. Except
they
mention
it, but they don't do a flashback to it.
Let me ask you guys this. This is the first time the Wayne's death has ever been a plot point in the movie, and it's also the first time we've never seen them die. Do you think that's a coincidence?
No, I think like after Zack Snyder's incredibly slow,
Watch yourself,
indulgent,
watch yourself.
version of the Thomas and Wayne murder, they didn't want to show it again. Because I was like,
after watching Batman Begins, the slow motion's way better. Like,
no,
it doesn't make any
Batman
sense.
v
How
Superman.
How did the pearls latch onto the back?
Yeah,
of the
get
gun?
around the gun.
Yeah, so when he pulls the button, the chamber goes back and it pulls the. It doesn't make any sense.
It's cool looking, but yeah,
It's
how does
so
it
cool
end up?
looking.
well,
Like
first
that?
of all, I'm not talking about Batman Begins. I'm talking about Batman versus Superman when Zack Snyder reshowed the.
Oh
the
yes,
deaths.
yeah, Batman Begins. Yes, that's what I'm sorry. Yes, that's what I mean. Like, that's cooler than Batman Begins when it's just some fucking crook. Like at least Zack Snyder turned it into like a theatric like moment that matters to Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I don't know. They need to show it again because, like, you know,
Like, so,
Begins,
I'll
they
tell you
had
this,
to.
I've spent my entire life saying no more Waynes, right? Stop showing me the Waynes die in the beginning of every one of these Batman movies. However, I think if you're going to try to be this nuanced and avant-garde on Batman, I think you might need to show the fucking murders. And like, I can't believe I'm saying that. Like, 2021 Major would be like, no effing way. But now that I've seen it without the murders, I'm like, maybe we need some more character development.
Well, I think we get the idea. I do like in like the Joker movie that was at the climax of the film, the Wayne's getting killed. So that was a nice little twist, and like it's sort of like built up to it. They sort of established
is this movie The Joker in hockey pads? Is this the Last Jedi kind of deconstruction of the character, like we saw with the Joker, and now we're seeing it with the Batman?
Possibly. I think that I don't know. This, like I said, this didn't really do. This wasn't like a revolutionary Batman movie like Batman Begins or Dark Knight.
Nothing new. Like I rewatched like Batman Begins, and it hit all like the major plot points at all. Like, and like, what's he gonna do? I really wanted to see Court of Owls, but like, you know, some people were like, Major, calm down. You might be able to see Court of Owls in the next episode or the third movie, right?
No.
But like, what's he gonna do? Reveal an underground layer of the Court of Owls, like in the second movie? In the first movie, we just revealed an underground layer of like filth and criminals. Like it's just like a washboard. It's like a repeat. If they did Court of Owls in the second movie, so what are you gonna do? The Joker? Oh, kind of like Christopher Nolan did in the second movie. Like, what is happening here? This is just like a repeat.
It's interesting because Matt Reeves has already like said, like after the movie came out, that he actually filmed a scene with Batman and Joker, whoever plays the Joker. I think it's the guy from Eternals. Yeah. And basically his reasoning behind that scene was like, you know, he had to do a profile on Riddler, so let him interview a killer he's already had dealings with. Oh, and so it's basically him. So it's sort of like him, like Joker's like sort of like the Hannibal Lecter, and he's like Clarice. And he has to, like, you know, get info on the Riddler by interviewing the Joker.
Kind of like how the Calendar Man was in the early 2000s. That's a great point. So we see in this movie at the beginning, the first fight scene with Robert Pattinson. He beats up a bunch of these goons, these thugs, these street-level criminals with Joker, or at least clown makeup on. And then at the end of the movie, we see that the Joker is in Arkham Asylum. So I think it's really easy to assume, which of course makes an ass out of you and me, but it's easy to assume that the Batman had some interaction with the Joker in year one that we didn't get to see, which led to the Joker being, you know, put in prison in Arkham Asylum for the movie. However, he's already started this kind of cult on the outside, where people are dressing up in Joker,
just like in the Joaquin Phoenix movie. So
again, my goodness, just like in the Joaquin Phoenix movies, it's like, son of a bitch, like, dude, I just want to see something new. Like, here's my pitch. We're gonna talk about the actual movie, but all I'm saying is, like, Daddy needs his heroin, right? I just got Endgame. I just got Spider-Way, No Way Home. Daddy needs his heroin, right? He needs to go bigger and harder every single time. What I'm saying is, you get the last 3 or 4 Batmans, and they team up in the movie going against the last 3 or 4 Jokers on this ultimate plot line. Like, it's Spider-Man, it's Spider-Verse, right? It's the Batman verse, basically. It's the Batverse. Yeah.
Well, that's basically what they're gonna be doing in the Flash movie.
An amazing plot where, like, obviously you can't do Heath Ledger, right? But you can find someone like Heath Ledger. You can get the next Joker, and you can get Mark Hamill, and then you can get
Jack Nicholson back.
Then and get Jack Nicholson back, right? 4 Jokers. Then you go with Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck. You get 4 Batmans back, and it's these 4 Batmans being detectives trying to defeat these 4 Jokers to save the universe. That is the movie that brings in $1 billion into Warner Brothers.
You probably aren't aware of this, but Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck are going to be in the Flash movie, right?
Yeah, Flashpoint. Who cares about a Flash movie?
But basically, you're getting the past Batman together though, so it's like Warner Brothers is already on that page.
But the Batman's just a retelling of Batman Begins, so what's the difference?
I don't know. I don't think Bale would ever do anything Batman related without Nolan.
It's just a retelling of the Spider-Verse, right? With the multiverse and a bunch of Spider-Men. Like, I know I'm not creating new ideas here. I'm just creating new inspirations and new aspirations.
Yeah. So I guess
can you imagine how good if you had the perfect screenwriter, right? How good would a Batman movie be where 4 Jokers team up together to destroy Gotham and the world and Batman? Like, if you truly wrote that correctly, you could be looking at the best movie since Endgame.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Might happen maybe someday. Maybe we should just break down what we did like. Or maybe
let's talk. Well, let's try to be more specific. What do we think about Alfred's? How was Andy Serkis versus Michael Caine and the amazing other
Jeremy Irons?
Basically,
right? They did a militaristic Alfred again, like they did. Jeremy Irons did, like they did on Gotham, the TV show. So it's just like again.
And Pennyworth. I think it's okay. Like we were talking about this off air, and like I think this is okay. Like maybe Bruce Wayne needs a militaristic butler in his life. I'm okay with that. Maybe that's just a part of Pennyworth's fucking personality. So I'm okay with them doing another militaristic Alfred.
And they also, I think they borrowed from Batman Earth 1. I don't know if you ever read those graphic novels, but in those, Bruce didn't go away to train. Alfred trained him before he became Batman. So that was like I think a big change in those books. And I think that
kind of thinking about like just it's nice to have an Alfred who can teach Bruce to punch. But I think one of the important things in Batman and the Batman lore is Bruce going away to learn all these different things. And one of the things I think is really cool that doesn't even get hinted at in the movies, right? You have to like read the novel for the movie, like the pre-novel for the movie that goes over like events before the movie starts. Bruce Wayne goes to a bunch of different universities and he changes majors over and over again. So like one year he majors in biology and then next year he'll switch majors to chemistry, but he'll also transfer colleges so he can go to the best college for that major at the time, which is something you can do when you're a billionaire.
That's true. Out-of-state tuition doesn't apply to you.
That's one of like the best things about Batman is like how he learns to become the best of the best, and that just got taken out completely. Like when I was rewatching like Batman Begins, like it opens up and he's in prison because Christian Bale Batman is trying to learn the life of a criminal, right? To beat criminals, you have to become a criminal first to get in their mindset, and we just don't see any of that here.
Yeah, I think Matt. It was like very much trying to be the Nolan film, but also actively trying not to be them as well. Like
I'm just saying, it was trying to be dark and gritty, like a Christopher Nolan film. Yeah. However, you can't beat the Christopher Nolan films, so don't even fucking try it.
Yeah, it's like
try something else. Try to be more wacky and wild. Go more camp. Go darker, right? But this was the same level. For me, this was the same kind of street level grittiness of Batman that Christopher Nolan provided. To me, it felt boring.
However, we got to remember that in the Nolan films, Bruce Wayne was only Batman for a year because
that's very true.
So
those knees give out really fast.
In Matt Reeves' version, he's already been Batman longer than Christian Bale's Batman was.
That's very true.
So but I was just like, Matt Reeves like, well, I want to do Batman Year 1, but they've already done that, so I'll do Batman, Year 2.
Aha. What did you think, Robbie? Are you looking forward to a sequel? I'm looking forward to a sequel, so I'm sure you are too. But your overall thoughts, like, is this the best Batman movie you've seen, Robbie, or is this top 5, top 3?
I'd say it's one of my top ones, but not the best.
Not the best. Dark Knight.
Yeah,
right?
Dark Knight obviously is holding that position still.
God bless you, Heath Ledger.
Oh man,
God
I'd like to see if they could try to top
and Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart was such a good Two-Face.
Yeah, I think he's so.
Who was the other Two-Face?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, he was good too. I really liked him in Val Kilmer. He wasn't a good Two-Face, but it was a good character. He was crazy. He was wacky. There was the bank vault scene where he was filling up the scene with acid, and then like Batman had to like take those glasses to fucking. Oh, it was so good. Like
it's so weird.
It's say what you want. It's entertaining though.
Well, it's just interesting.
So much entertaining.
It's interesting that Batman Forever like showed Riddler's origin, and that didn't show Two-Face's origin, which I thought would have been way more interesting. Like we don't see the guy who was like an upstanding district attorney.
Yeah, it gets like.
It's like no, he's already a villain. He's already crazy. And
I think that's because Two-Face was not only a different actor but a different race in the movie before.
Oh well, yeah, he was Lando Calrissian.
He was Billy
D. Williams.
Yeah, Billy D. Williams last movie. In this movie,
Batman
turned into a white guy.
Like Mr. Knox is more
they should turn him
Gotham
into
than ghosts and goblins. So I don't know. He was great in that movie. But yeah, I didn't know until like years later that that character was Harvey Dent. I just thought
me neither, right? And that's the joy of being 13 when you're watching a movie. You don't understand like the whole lore. It's just cool as shit. But once you understand the lore of it all, like you want more from it. So we've talked about Alfred's, we've talked about theme songs. I want to talk about Gordon's.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about this? Non-Commissioner Gordon.
A lot like Alfred. A lot like Alfred, you know, there was not much.
Nothing for him to do. Nothing. Like Jeffrey Wright was so good, but he was only so good because he was Jeffrey Wright. The role gave him nothing to do.
No, it's like Batman has to have Gordon and Alfred. So like, I think Matt Reeves like, I have to use his characters, but they're just going to be in the movie. They're not going to be like they have no arc. You know, they have they're just there. They're just like, no, Gordon is Batman's ally in the police department. Alfred is his butler. You know, they serve those roles. At
least have the balls of Zack Snyder to kill a character off when you have no idea what to do with them.
Well, like, Gordon did die.
What was Superman's like?
Oh, Jimmy Olsen. Yeah, Jimmy Olsen. He killed Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy Olsen died. Beginning like the very beginning, like Zack Snyder was like, I don't know what to do with Jimmy Olsen. We're just gonna kill him at the very beginning.
Oh yeah, and it was also just like, you know, people were mad that Superman killed Zod in the first movie, and like, you know, Zack Snyder was like, oh, you didn't like Superman killing Zod? Boom, he kills
boom, he kills his best friend in the comic.
Hey, how about that scene with new Gordon when he busted Batman out by taking a punch for him?
Dude,
that was a cool scene.
That was great. That was one of the best punches in the face I've ever seen on television. Like
and he was held back a little. He was like, I did.
But I'll tell you this, I rewatched Batman Begins, like I've said a couple times on the podcast, and there's a scene in Batman Begins where Batman needs to escape from all the cops inside of Arkham Asylum because all the cops are outside.
Oh yeah, and he does the stairwell thing.
Yeah, and he pulls out this little sonar thing and he presses a button, all the bats go fucking crazy and he escapes that way. Yeah. Cooler. Like all I'm saying is like this was cool. Like in the scene when it's like super dark and the mobsters are like shooting at Batman, he's like deflecting and punching him in the face. Like, oh my goodness, like I'm still jizzing over like that scene. Like, well, that scene looks so good. But you know what?
Hallway when it's just the muzzle flashes, like
it's just the muzzle flashes in Batman. It looks so good. But you know what else looks really good? Darth Vader walking down a stairwell, walking down a hallway, slashing bitches up left and right on Rogue One. But I'm not watching Rogue One again.
Pretty sure, yeah. I think Daredevil owns the hallway scenes of any comic book property.
I'm pretty sure Netflix patented the hallway scenes, but Daredevil owns it for sure.
And yeah, I really totally forgot. Like, you know, Matt Reeves definitely borrowed or remade the escape from police scene from Batman Begins, and also
no, it's all of it's borrowed. There's nothing original in this movie. Falcone or Falcone, right?
Sal Maroni.
Oh my goodness! All right, first off,
it's like the
Colin
Penguin's
Farrell.
beginning.
Is he playing the Penguin or is he playing Clayface? Because I couldn't recognize that motherfucker at all.
Wouldn't that be a great twist if he just like morphs to a blob of clay?
Oh my gosh, what a twist that would be! But you know what? Matt Reeves would never do it. I just
Just
saw the
like
first
at the
Matt
end
Reeves
of
Batman
Arkham
movie,
City.
and I know this movie would never take those kinds of leaps.
Then it'd be like, Clayface, you were a penguin the whole time? Why? The role of a lifetime. Just like Arkham City.
Oh. First off, how good was the Harley Quinn TV show?
I never saw it, but
what? All right. First off, get off this podcast. Go watch it.
I know everyone says it's good, but I don't know. I have no interest.
All right. Robbie, you need to watch it too. All right. Don't watch it for Harley. Watch it for Clayface. Clayface is so phenomenal in the Harley Quinn movie, TV show. Like, it's worth watching by himself. Just him emoting as an actor and trying to be an actor as like a criminal. It's such a good role. It's such a good story.
It also shows that had Matt Reeves gone with like Clayface or Man-Bat or just like one of those more fantastical villains, that would have really set it apart from Nolan films.
Or Court of Owls. But we've already seen
just
a penguin.
Yeah, I mean, Nolan already embraced the realism. We don't need like another hyper realistic Batman. Like we had 10 years of that.
That's what I'm saying.
2005, 2012.
Yeah,
so.
like Nolan did hyper realistic Batman. You can't go back and beat that. You have to go camp. You have to go campier.
You have to release like the Arkham games. It's a perfect balance of dark but also like fantastical. Like, it has all the fantastical elements from the comics, like Mr. Freeze, Clayface, Man-Bat. Even Firefly.
You mean the game that got a 10 out of 10 from like 15 different game reviewers? Yeah, probably just steal a story.
Solomon Grundy. So I mean, just like that's you can have it. You can still have it be dark, but
I will shit my pants the day Solomon Grundy shows up on an IMAX Batman screen.
Well, I think Solomon Grundy's more of a JSA or a Green Lantern villain.
No, Solomon Grundy's Batman.
I mean, he's fought Batman, but I'd say he's probably more. He's more in the world of. I don't know. I think he fights like Justice League. He's more like a Superman antagonist.
He definitely
just
needs
in terms
to be
of
Superman
strength.
Antagonist. Yeah, because he can't die and he's got super strength. How can Batman ever beat him? But that's what makes Solomon Grundy such a fun villain.
Yeah. So
let's talk about fun villains. What do you guys think about? So in Batman Begins, we had Ra's al Ghul.
Yep.
Right.
Played by a white guy, which I think is the only problem I have with the film is that like it's like Ra's al Ghul.
But Liam Neeson's
Arabic.
so good. But Liam Neeson's so good. How can you even think about that? Like
that's like it's like an Arabic actor. I don't know.
I would say as the director, I want the best actor for the job, and I'll give him whatever name I fucking wanted to. And Liam Neeson was the best actor for the job, just like Tilda Swinton for Doctor Strange.
Well, that was another issue. Like they cast a white actress just because
that might be whitewashing, but those are phenomenal roles. Those are amazing actors doing amazing jobs.
Well, the alternative was the white savior trope, which they were afraid of because they cast an actual. Nepal or what is it? Where's that country he went to? Kamartaj. It was in Nepal, right? So they cast like an actual like Nepal or actor. Then it's like, oh, it's a white savior, because you have a white guy coming in and he's like showing up all the natives on how to do magic.
What was that Tom Cruise, Matt Damon movie with the same thing?
He goes to China.
Yeah,
and even like the director was Chinese. He said like the character was always supposed to be European. So it's just like, but that's why they cast a white actress for the Ancient Ones, because they were afraid of being accused of the white savior trope.
Oh, the Great Wall, that was it.
The Great Wall, yeah. But I think you're thinking like Last Samurai, people would probably accuse that of being a white savior thing. So it's like, and I guess even like maybe like, if you notice in Batman Begins, Carmine Falcone is not played by an Italian actor; he's played by the British guy. And I think that was at a time.
I think he was pretty good. He's a good Falcone.
He was good, but the reason I did that was because that was like post Sopranos, and like everyone like in Hollywood was just like, oh, we can't portray Italians as criminals anymore. That's not politically correct. So
we'll hire a white guy to portray
We're still gonna give him an Italian name, but we're just not gonna cast an Italian actor. So I did like that Carmine Falcone was actually Italian. So Carmine Falcone was actually Italian in this movie, which I liked. And I thought that John Turturro did a good job.
Oh, he was
as Falcone.
amazing. So good. Such a good actor. Like every person from Zoe Kravitz to Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Just A1 casting, right?
Yeah.
Like I know how you could replace Michael Caine as Alfred, and then someone said Andy Serkis, and I was like, okay, I'm back on board. Like I couldn't come up with the name, but that's the one name I would be okay with.
Yeah, and I this review has been like, not very praiseworthy, but I did really like, back to Falcone, I did really like that Catwoman's arc.
I think everyone here on this podcast loved a lot of this movie.
Yeah. But I really like Catwoman's arc in this. I like that her character served the story and not the other way around.
Yes.
And I think I liked that she went to go kill Falcone. So she's had like a bit of a villainous streak in her. But, I thought this version of Catwoman was way better than Anne Hathaway's.
Every version.
Definitely
Rachel
wasn't
Dawes and Hathaway.
I think, definitely the Halle Berry, but I think Michelle Pfeiffer's still the best Catwoman because she was more of a straight villain in that movie than this one. This one, she's like sympathetic.
Maybe I don't want a straight villain. Maybe I want a nice little anti-hero.
Well, I like Catwoman as a villain though. I like because Catwoman works best when she's like a love interest for Batman, but also
conflicting,
a villainess, but also a criminal.
Oh no, I think you're close. I think Catwoman works best when she's a love interest for Bruce Wayne and a counterpart for Batman. When Catwoman goes against Batwoman, but Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne get along, and then you've got that awkward moment where they discover each other's secret identities. Mm-hmm. Like that's what I get off on.
That's why I like the Batman Returns when they both like realize who the other one is.
Right,
it's so pretty good. Cool. But yeah, I prefer my Catwoman as more of a villain, but also like
less an anti-hero.
They can never be together because she's on the opposite side of the law and he's pro-law. So
it's a will they won't they situation, but they won't.
And they can get that vigilante kiss every once in a while.
But then they try to do that with every single female
Rob's got it right.
villain,
Rob's got it right. A little vigilante kiss.
Yeah,
Michelle Pfeiffer or Zoe Kravitz.
Now they've like oversympathized Harley Quinn. They oversympathize Poison Ivy because they're just like, oh, women can't be evil.
Well, yeah, because you can't sell a television show based on a criminal. You got to turn them all into anti-heroes. I'm telling you, Forrest, this is some bullshit right here, but you can mark my words, 100 years until Joker is an anti-hero.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think he's already has his own comic.
It's only 50
Joker's
years.
got to be a straight up villain.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's only 50 years until he's not a Joker, until he's not a villain, until he's an anti-hero that stands up to society, and the joke's on the 1%. You watch it.
Grant Morrison sort of did something like that. Like there's another villain I think called like Dr. Hurt who's trying to like take out Batman, and then like Joker was like, no, only I can kill Batman. So he sort of teams up with Batman to. So that's like the only I think version where Joker is sort of like an anti-hero because there's like a bigger villain.
No. What about the White Knight?
I haven't read that.
So. So Joker becomes the good guy, and he makes.
But that's like
Batman
an Elseworlds. That's an Elseworlds story. I'm talking about like actual like Batman canon. That's the only way Joker.
We're talking about Batman canon, like 616. Like are we talking about like?
Well, that's Marvel.
Is there a 616?
I guess
one.
I guess like the post DC Rebirth, or because that like sort of like because New 52 like completely rebooted everything DC, and then Rebirth was like let's bring back everything that was rebooted prior to New 52, or like post Crisis is still a thing,
but like
pre-Crisis isn't. So
you want the movie? I want to see a Red Death movie, and for those who don't know, Red Death is the villainous version of Batman from Earth 52, merged with the Flash.
Yeah. And there's like another one for Green Lantern, like the Dawnbreaker.
Yeah, like so. It's one of my it's one of my favorite like series.
I never really read anything of the metal stuff by Scott Snyder.
Dark Knight, yeah,
which is strange because
Zack Snyder. Dark Knight Metal is so good.
You mean Scott Snyder?
Yeah, sorry, Scott Snyder.
I love Scott Snyder. I love Scott Snyder's Batman run, but it sort of fizzled out towards the end because that's when they were doing Rebirth, because they wanted to make Batman a bi-monthly title. So he was finishing up his Batman run, but Gordon was in like the Batman Gundam at that point, and it just was not as good. I think like from the Court of Owls all the way to Endgame was great, but like after that, that's when I think I didn't like Scott Snyder's. So he did like an all-star Batman series with like Two-Face and him are like on the run because like they put like a bounty on Two-Face's head, so he has to like get him to a safe location. So yeah, I like Scott Snyder as a writer, but I never really read any of his metal stuff. I couldn't really get into it. It didn't really look that appetizing to me. So, but
I think a dark Batman is incredibly appealing.
Yeah.
And off air, I will give you my elevator pitch for the series.
yeah. Well, let's go over the ending real quick because I think that's like the thing. Like, I get at least you and me.
But we're all talking. Oh yeah, we have to talk about tie-ins, right? Like this movie set up 1,000 different things from Bruce Wayne like injecting that green steroid juice.
Oh yeah,
Venom. What was in that?
That's Venom. That's a setup for Venom. And there's a setup for 15 other for Bane. Yeah, there's a setup for 15 other fucking Batman like
Hush
story.
was also set up. Yeah.
And then New Rockstars was saying it was just adrenaline. But
Yeah, but it was green though.
He didn't really go into detail of it.
That's true. And I love Eric Voss. Don't get me wrong. Eric Voss, hands down, the best at breaking down. But the fact that he didn't equate that green juice to Venom and Bane seems like what I would call quickly rushing to production.
Yeah. And I think you gotta remember, I think the Venom drug debuted before Bane did. Because there was like a comic series where like Batman
got addicted to steroids. He got addicted to it beforehand.
Yeah, so that was like a great little nod. So that was definitely, I think, a nod to Venom and Bane. Hush, because I think
also, how cool is that? Like, of course, Batman needs some kind of adrenaline shot to like get him out of a sticky situation. Or
he took a shotgun to the chest from like point blank.
Well, let me go over this. Before,
okay, yeah,
go ahead. In case we forget. But was anyone else disappointed that Riddler was not present for like the final battle? I mean, I know he was like there in spirit. I guess.
Yeah, the final battle.
Minions.
His henchmen.
He was already arrested.
I mean, I understand.
Now
I think it was part of. I think it was part of his plan.
Yeah, it would be better. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like it's super Batman villainy to like get arrested. Like the Heath Ledger's the Joker, right?
Yeah.
It was like
that's the first time they meet face to face is him being arrested.
Yeah. Well, they spoiled the multiple Riddlers in like the last trailer, and when I saw that before seeing the movie, I was like, oh, that's so clever. He has to figure out which is the real Riddler. You know, because he might have the detonator or something. But then it was like he's not even there. Oh, there's just guys who like dressed up like the Riddler. So it's like, oh, okay, well that plot thread is gone.
What did you guys think about Batman becoming hope and not vengeance?
Well, that was another thing that I think the guy, the nostalgia critic, brought up. Like, what was great was like when he unmasked that one Riddler at the end. He's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm vengeance." That was great. That was like him like taking his line and like perverting it. I thought that was great. Then they said later, then he actually had Batman say in the narration, I can't just be a symbol of vengeance anymore. It's like, oh, you ruined it.
Right.
You
like,
know,
yeah, exactly.
You didn't need to like, we got the impact, you know.
Can't
from
use
that
word anymore.
Oh, well, no. See, my problem is that Batman is vengeance, right? From the Batman animated series, which we can all go ahead and say is the definitive Batman.
Mm-hmm.
BATS, sorry, Batman the animated series. BTAS. Is I am the night, I am vengeance, I am Batman.
Well,
right?
I guess
such an iconic line. But so like, and like, look, I'm not opposed to Batman figuring out he's not vengeance, but I want that in a Ben Affleck Batman. I want that in a third movie Batman, right?
Yeah.
Batman figuring out he's not vengeance, that he's hope. He needs to bring hope to the world. That's a Superman character. Superman brings hope. Batman brings fear. Batman brings fear into the heart of his enemies. Right? That's why he established the Bat. Bruce Wayne was afraid of the Bat, and he wanted to bring that fear into his enemies. So Batman took on the symbol of the Bat. Right? Okay. But him not being vengeance anymore, what is he? Is he going to be a beacon of hope? Because that's not Batman, that's Superman.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I didn't like that. But I did love that scene where he says, like, I'm vengeance. I liked how, like, the bad guys had basically used his own line.
It was beautiful. It was very, very well shot. Very well written. Very well done. Not Batman.
Yeah. Well,
very well done.
I also think I understand why Riddler wasn't there. I guess Matt Reeves, like, as heavily as he borrowed from the Nolan films in 7, he was like, well, it's become a cliche that the villain gets himself arrested, then they break out. Like, you know, Joker did it in Dark Knight. Right. Loki did it in Avengers. Silva did it. Silva did it in Skyfall, and then Khan did it in Star Trek Into Darkness. It's like basically every major Hollywood blockbuster was like using that trope. So I guess maybe that's my web memories.
They break out.
They get themselves caught and they break out. So like basically they keep using that over and over again. So.
I get it. Like the end scene, I didn't like it one bit, but I loved it at the same time. Like
I also didn't
Riddler
really
and the Joker falling in love, like one cell apart from each other.
Yeah,
like that to me was exciting. That was super exciting. Like, oh my goodness, I can't wait for the next movie.
Yeah, my other major complaint in this movie that like even though it is a detective movie, it's very much Batman really did not stop Riddler from doing anything he wanted to do. It's like basically like Riddler kills someone, leaves a riddle.
He didn't save anybody.
Leaves a riddle. But the Riddler's already caught his next victim or killed them. You know? And then like
wrong.
Even at the very end, like there's a seawall we've never heard before until now, and then it blows up, and he still floods the city. And he saves a few people in the convention hall. But I'm pretty sure that was like just one building, and like there were like hundreds of others that were flooded. So
he saved Bella Real. Yeah, there's thousands.
But I guess in a little
corrupt.
Defense of it, he started doing all that, and it was pitch black, and then the sun was coming up when it cuts to them on the roof. So he was probably at it all night.
Yeah, I mean, he saved like a bunch of people in the convention hall, but like that was just one building. Like there were like probably several other buildings.
The whole place flooded.
In their defense, one, that's the building everyone should have gone towards. Like that was like the emergency. That was the emergency building.
Yeah,
like
when it started, they were telling everybody to go there.
Like, everyone needs to get to this building. So
I'm pretty sure any building that wasn't above sea level would have worked. But
yeah, I agree. Any tall building should have worked just fine, except for Bruce's penthouse.
And people didn't like
one up by Andy Sedaris. Circus.
Yeah, I think people were just like going there because that's where the water was taking them.
And the president and the not presidential, but the mayoral debate.
Yeah. Well, do you remember
the winnings?
Do you remember in Batman Begins where they established like Wayne Tower is the center of Gotham City and it's the center of the train?
Yeah.
And then they incorporate that later in the movie. But in this movie, like we're just told in like the last 10 minutes that there's a seawall surrounding Gotham, and if you set up bombs at certain points, you can flood the entire city.
Seven. Now, I got a couple of things for this. One, I agree with you completely. How does the Millennial Riddler afford 7 fucking vans?
He was an accountant. I guess he just saved. He had a really crappy apartment, so I guess he wasn't.
Yeah. Maybe he saved all that money. Maybe he stole them. But anyway,
well, you can rent
an Easter egg. You can call it an Easter egg. I don't think that's the right term here, but there was mention at the beginning of the movie in a headline that Gotham seawall construction had been halted. However, it wasn't explicitly stated by a character. There wasn't any dialogue that said that. So it wasn't set up.
Yeah, they didn't even like show like Batman like on like the river, like we're gonna get on this side of the seawall to chase. Like there was like a boat chase the Penguin, which made way more sense.
That works in Peacemaker, right? Like when we watched Peacemaker, we watched John Cena walk into his dad's trailer, and there was some TV on the background, and it talked about a gorilla escaping. And then the next episode, we got attacked by a gorilla. That is how that properly works. That did not work in this movie.
There should have been some foreshadowing. So.
Right. There was a foreshadowing in a headline, but it wasn't obvious enough that it made sense, right? Like you, Forrest, of all people, you are an amazing movie watcher. Like if you didn't catch it in the first act, it shouldn't have been paid off in the third act. I would say that.
Also, I don't know, I'm going to shamelessly plug my own screenplay, but in my A Dash of Cobalt script, I mentioned earlier that there's a lion that got loose from the zoo, and then like later on, in like the second act, there's an actual lion.
Yeah,
that's the bad guy has.
Lion. Now,
so like
what was this called for us? What would you say this?
Cobalt? A Dash of Cobalt. Yeah.
Now, can we find this somewhere on some kind of podcast streaming service, maybe?
I guess we'll have to like. I need to probably like put a patent, but. I don't know. It's not public domain.
Until Forrest puts a patent on it, the answer to that question is yes. You can go back to one of our first episodes, episode 6 or 7, I think. You'll find a Dash of Cobalt, and it's us from the podcast reading through an OG script.
Well, no. We did the Justice League Action episode that I wrote for our class. We didn't adapt that screenplay.
Oh,
We did the Justice League action with Dr. Destiny, right?
Oh yeah, Dr. Destiny.
Who, by the way, is going to be in the Sandman TV series, which is coming out later this year.
I apologize completely. Forrest has written so many scripts over the years. It's hard to.
Well, just like 2, but
3. You sent me one. You sent me a 3rd, haven't you?
Just 2. I think this is 2. The 2 like feature length ones, and like
okay.
That like the one was like a TV episode script, and then like another one was like an 8-page script for a comic. But that's really all the writing I've done. But yeah, I think let's wrap this up because
bum.
So I would overall I give this movie an 8.5. I just had some issues with the ending, and I think it borrowed probably a little too much from the Nolan films. It probably could have set itself apart better. But overall, I like Robert Pattinson as Batman. I think I enjoyed the acting, the cinematography. Reeves' overall direction, just a few issues with the screenplay, but definitely will check out the sequel and look forward to it. And I also like this movie really highlights and shows that DC can do stuff that Marvel can. So I do appreciate Warner Brothers is giving us some more, different flavors than what Marvel has. It's a different perspective. Yeah, it's completely. Marvel MCU. There can never be an MCU movie like this. No. Although once the Moon Knight comes out, I'd be like, oh, they did it. But I strongly doubt that they're going to take a lot of risk with Moon Knight.
No, I think you're.
But I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it'll be better than Hawkeye, which I wasn't crazy about. But overall, enjoyed this movie. But yeah, just a few minor gripes, but that didn't ruin the movie for me. But
nice. What about you, Robbie? What'd you think? Overall thoughts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was I'd say I'm around where Force is at. I'd somewhere around an 8 or a 9.
Love it.
Yeah, not the best Batman. I really enjoyed just like following along, trying to solve all the riddles, trying to figure out.
That was fun, right? It was a good detective story.
Yeah, and I saw and he first glances at the scraper tool. What's it
the
called?
carpet?
The Tucker.
Yeah, the Tucker. How he looked at he definitely like checked that out for a second.
Chekhov's
how the blood lined up.
Yeah, I love how
I knew how he had to have noticed that as soon as it left the blood stain when he picked it up.
Yeah, you saw like the blood stain pattern on the wall, but I also loved how like even though he recognized like this object caused this dent, he still didn't know what a carpet shover was. Because he's a billionaire.
Until the cop did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's like, oh, you wouldn't know what that was.
And then he started instantly.
You're Bruce Wayne. You don't understand this, but this is what carpets do. I mean,
so Major, what were my final thoughts on the movie overall?
My final thoughts?
I guess what would your score out of 10 be?
6.9. Because I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't the best. Okay. Yeah, that's a 69 reference for all those fuckers out there. Okay. I would say this movie equates to the theme song. Bum, 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 bum. Like, it's simplistic, it's amazing, and yet it's lackluster of everything I've come to expect from a Batman movie.
Okay. Well, maybe hopefully they'll do better next time.
I'll remember the Nirvana songs more.
Yeah.
I thought they had some cool intros.
Yeah. Nirvana's surprisingly good. I'm sure we'll see another Nirvana song on our next Batman movie. Maybe Smells Like Teen Spirit. Maybe some the parrot song, whatever.
Come as you are in my cave, in my Batmobile. Oh yeah. Major, you want to plug our social media?
You know I do. Please, if you love the Batman movie, if you hated the Batman movie, if you thought it was all right, if it's your favorite Batman origin, if it's your least favorite Batman origin, we want to hear about it. Please tweet us at Zealot Podcast on Twitter. From there, you can also not just tweet at us, but click on the link and join our Discord, our free Discord, so you can join the conversation. Tell us what you thought about the Batman, what you think about the next Batman. I know personally, 3 out of 3 of us here are super excited for the next Black Adam movie, so I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh, I missed the first one.
Oh, sorry, you're correct. The first, yes, the upcoming Black Adam movie. You're very correct. I'll send you the link. There is an animated Black Adam movie, and it is spoiler alert, not that great.
Okay.
Yeah, Black Adam versus Shazam. It's an animated movie. Maybe but what's happening next week? We've got something coming out, don't we, Forrest? Something's starting up?
Well, Moon Knight doesn't start for a while. So,
I
but
thought Moon Knight started next week. So
no.
not.
We might just do South Park and maybe The Boys Diabolical, that animated series, and hopefully Matt and Tip will have seen the Batman by then, so maybe we can hear their thoughts on it.
I'd love to hear Matt's thoughts on it. I'll tell you what, I watched 8 episodes of The Boys Diabolical, and I have someone I want to bitch to about this. So see us next week.
The first 2.
So a very unapologetic major will be talking about his highs and his lows from the very Diabolical Boys animated cartoon series on Amazon Prime.
All right. Well, I'm Forrest.
I'm Vengeance, or I'm not Vengeance.
And I'm Robbie.
And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.